to her political views. Now, this isn't a political based video. This video is to dissect the grammar and what Sophie Cunningham stands for, not just as a professional athlete, but as a person. And her coming from my home state of Missouri, I'm super proud of Sophie. Look, Sophie, let them know we cut different over here. We stand for different morals and principles. I can't speak for everywhere else, but right here in Missouri, we cut different.
Tonight brought a major matchup featuring the league's headline trio, with Caitlin Clark standing out as the most dominant of the group. That outcome tracks with recent form, as the squad rolled through the Connecticut Sun with a commanding performance. Clark turned in a strong double-double showing.
And shout out to Sophie for representing my home state. I'm super happy for her, bro. Now, Sophie Cunningham did play tonight. She didn't do very, very well, but it don't even matter. She keep making them mad. Now, with all that being said, let's blow this up. Listen to what Sophie had to say. Bro.
Wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe.
Before tip-off, Sophie Cunningham faced questions about earlier remarks she made supporting women's sports and keeping biological males out of girls' and women's locker rooms. She was pressed further on the subject and held her ground without wavering. Asked to elaborate on the ESPN interview where she spoke about protecting young girls from having to compete against biological men, Cunningham responded that she stood by her earlier comments, calling the position basic common sense. She emphasized the importance of protecting children, including young girls in that same category, and reaffirmed she wasn't backing away from what she'd said.
Even that, I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category.
Exactly.
And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah. Do you see your advocacy on that, like, taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so
she held firm, didn't hedge, and didn't try to walk anything back. Her exact stance. She said what she said, and continues to believe it. Cunningham has since drawn widespread support online for standing by her position. Speculation is already circulating about possible consequences from the comments, though the direction that will take remains unclear for now. There was a stretch in the second half where viewers speculated she might have been pulled from rotation, but she returned to the floor and played through most of the remaining game action.
When it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future it's just really important to protect.
Do you think, I guess, along the line like that, it goes against perhaps, some people might say, hey, for the trans community, this could be something that could come back on us or be targeted against us?
Elsewhere in the contest, Caitlin Clark and Sayaya Rivers picked up double technical fouls following a scuffle after a Connecticut foul call. That marks Clark's 7th technical of the season. One more will trigger an automatic suspension. There's hope the call gets overturned, as it appeared to be a questionable ruling. The final score landed at 123-88. Indiana also set a franchise record for first-half scoring, putting up 70 points before the break.
Like, how do you, I guess, view that sort of critique?
You know, like I said, I extend love, and I don't dislike anyone. Like, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone. And I truly think when you get people in the same room and you have conversations, you actually have a lot in common with a lot of people. And so I'm there to love, but I'm also there to love biological women, and I think that there are rights that need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my.
Clark came out aggressive from the opening minutes and never eased up. Her assist total could have been even higher. Several passes led directly to open looks that teammates simply couldn't convert.
Beliefs in that, but I have never once said I hated the trans community. Like I said, I think there's space for everyone.
Sophie, what about Connecticut tonight? Tell us a little bit about the game. What are you thinking about Hughes or Garden Brittany? You know her so well.
Yeah, you know, I think it has been so fun. I played with BG for 6 years, and so I know her like the back of my hand. And as of late, she's been playing really good. She's been playing like OG Brittany, and so we have our hands full down in the paint. I really think actually Connecticut is playing really good as a whole. I think everyone's playing their role really well.
Statistically, it was a huge night across the board. Clark finished with 27 points on 8 of 13 shooting, including 5 of 9 from beyond the arc, adding 11 assists, 2 rebounds, a steal, and a blocked shot, her second standout performance in the last 3 outings. Aaliyah Boston added 22 points on 10 of 14 shooting, with 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Kelsey Mitchell contributed 23 points on 9 of 16 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists, with her impact extending well beyond scoring this time.
From top to bottom, you know, they don't go out there and do anything outside of what they do, and that makes it difficult. And so, yeah, you could look at standings and where they're at in the league, but when you do that in this league, you're going to get beat by 50. And so we have one more game before break, and we cannot take this game lightly at all. And so we have to come out with following our scout, following our game plan offensively, making them play us into what we do. But, you know, BG's a load for anybody.
Last one I have, Sophie. How do you, I guess, navigate a climate where
Clark continued attacking downhill throughout, driving to the rim and finishing with a smooth floater on one possession. Fans reacting to the footage online, including returning commentator Venom, praised her aggressive drives and pull-up jumpers, including a deep 3 and a driving and one finish later in the game.
where whatever you say, people are going to say, well, this means you're automatically in this box or this label or that label, politically, morally, whatever?
I really don't care. I know that sounds bad, and I'm not trying to come off like that, but I do think, you know, everyone always is coming at it as a negative. Well, me coming out with that, there's so many people who are coming out with the positive, saying, you know what, finally someone has said something, and I don't really look at either side of those, because I know whatever I say, I'm going to get hate and I'm going to get love, and if I'm going to live by
The overall sense was that Clark was fully locked in for the night, delivering an entertaining showing even as the blowout margin caused the pace to slow in the second half. She's increasingly taking control as a playmaker and primary ball handler, though there remain moments where she cedes possession that some viewers feel she shouldn't. Still, a 27-point, 11-assist stat line is the caliber of production associated with league MVP conversations.
She was asked about it, and Sophie Cunningham did not back down at all.
On that same
Let's check this out right here.
vein, in that story with ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what
While much of the season's spotlight has gone to Kelsey Mitchell's strong campaign, there's growing sentiment that Clark deserves to enter the MVP discussion as well, similar to how Cunningham has been mentioned for 6th Player of the Year. As her health has improved, her recent scoring and playmaking numbers increasingly resemble MVP-level production, including a Player of the Week honor last week, followed by this 27-11 outing. It's being described as complete, all-around production rather than scoring alone, with occasional blocks and steals rounding out her stat sheet most nights. It remains to be seen how the team performs as the schedule toughens later in the season, but the recent stretch of games has been viewed as an encouraging sign of progress.
And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah.
She did not back down. Bravo. Bravo. Now, I'm sure a lot of us are wondering about potential fallout around this. I don't know yet how this is going to go. I know there was a point in the second half. People in the chat, the Ben Daniel chat, go subscribe. People were wondering out loud, had she been benched?
Sophie Cunningham made it clear she wasn't backing down from her earlier remarks. She didn't just repeat herself quietly either. She addressed it head-on, right in front of the reporter asking the questions. Cunningham sat down for a one-on-one interview with ESPN roughly a week or two before it aired, and once the segment dropped, it confirmed what had already been circulating about her comments on transgender athletes competing in women's sports.
Go subscribe. People were wondering out loud, had she been benched in the second half of the game, but she finally was brought in and played pretty much the rest of the game at that point. But she did not back down. She did not try to talk herself out of it, talk her way out of it. She said, I said what I said. Bravo, Sophie Cunningham. She's been getting praise from anybody with half a brain cell today. No doubt.
Rather than softening her position, Cunningham reinforced it, making clear she wasn't shifting her stance no matter the reaction. Her message basically amounted to, the comments stand, and if people have an issue, they can respond however they want. Many are giving her credit for holding firm on something she believes in. Cunningham has often been a talking point for her outspoken views on social and political matters. To be clear, this isn't meant as a political breakdown, it's simply looking at her actual words and what they reveal about who she is, both as an athlete and as a person. She's from Missouri, and that background gets tied into how she carries herself, a mentality of sticking to your values regardless of outside pressure. Cunningham did take the court that same night, and her performance wasn't especially strong, but that detail became secondary to the ongoing conversation around her.
No doubt about it. Now, right here, double technicals for Sanaya Rivers and Caitlin Clark, who exchanged words after a Connecticut foul. That's 7 technicals for Caitlin Clark. One more, and she will be suspended. I hope they rescind this one because I thought it was complete bullshit. You see that score, 123-88. The Indiana Fever set a record for points in the first half of a game with...
Here's the exchange in full. Reporter, wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to compete against biological men. Can you expand on that viewpoint? Cunningham, I said what I said. I think it's honestly common sense. And it's something I've always believed. Protecting kids matters a lot to me, and that includes young girls specifically. I'm standing by my original comments, and I'll continue to believe that.
Half of a game with 70 tonight. Wow. Yeah, and Caitlin Clark started this game fast. She never really took her foot off the pedal at all. And I got to tell you, if teammates could have made some shots, she might have had 16, 17, 18 assists tonight. There were a lot of shots missed on passes that she made directly to her teammate. The big three...
Reporter, do you see yourself continuing this kind of advocacy going forward? Cunningham, honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not really someone who gets into politics, but I do hold certain values and morals, and I plan to stay true to those. People will interpret it however they choose to. I haven't said much on the subject beyond this, but when it comes to protecting girls and women in sports, I feel strongly about it. That's part of the reason Title IX exists. Without protections like that, a lot of the accomplishments we see in women's sports simply wouldn't exist. Looking ahead, keeping those protections in place matters.
The big three had a big game. So let's start with Caitlin, 27 points, 8 of 13, 5 of 9 from three-point range, 11 assists, 2 boards, 1 steal, 1 block shot. Wow, a big, big game. And she's had 2 massive games out of the last 3 games. Aaliyah Boston, 22, 10 for 14, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Kelsey Mitchell, 23, 9 of 6.
Reporter, some might argue this puts the trans community in a difficult position, or even makes them a target. How do you respond to that kind of criticism? Cunningham, I try to lead with compassion. I don't hold ill will toward anyone. There's room in this world for everybody, and I believe people generally find common ground once they actually sit down and talk. My position comes from a place of caring, including caring about protecting biological women's rights. I'll continue to stand behind that. I've never once said I have any hatred toward the trans community. There's space for everyone as far as I'm concerned. Shifting to basketball, Cunningham spoke about facing Connecticut, noting she's played alongside Brianna Jones for 6 years and knows her game extremely well, adding that Jones has been playing at an elite level recently. She praised Connecticut as a well-rounded team where everyone executes their role, making them tough to prepare for regardless of their position in the standings. She emphasized the importance of not overlooking the matchup, especially with one more game left before the break, and stressed sticking to the scouting report and game plan on offense.
Steals, Kelsey Mitchell, 23, 9 of 16, 3 of 6 from three-point range, 4 boards, and 2 assists. Kelsey Mitchell actually contributed in other ways tonight. I got to give it up for her than just putting up points in this game. Let's go. Caitlin Clark shooting a rock.
She is attacking the basket.
And she just drives in. Nice little drive. And hits the little floater. That's good stuff.
Reporter, how do you navigate a situation where no matter what you say, people try to put you in a box, politically, morally, or otherwise? Cunningham, honestly, I don't spend much energy worrying about it. That might sound bad, but I recognize that for every negative reaction, there's also a wave of people saying they're glad someone finally spoke up. I try not to dwell on either side too much, because I know criticism and support are both going to come regardless of what I say. If I let the praise define me, the criticism would just as easily tear me down, and that's not who I want to be. She continued, describing herself as someone who marches to her own rhythm and accepts that public figures will always draw criticism no matter their success. She said she's comfortable and confident in her identity and intends to keep being herself moving forward.
And hits the little floater. That's good stuff. This is my boy Venom. Welcome back, Venom. Venom Reacts. Go subscribe. He's back after his auto accident. And he was away for some days. He is straight up back. And he's going to be calling this on this Ty Harris to CC situation.
Oh my gosh, Caitlin Clark is cooking. Come here, Sanaya. Step back. Oh my gosh.
Give that guy your map.
Curling off the screen. Come here. Curry 3.
Reporter, has that mindset always come naturally, or is it something you've developed? Cunningham, I think I've always had a certain ability to handle scrutiny and outside opinions. There's negativity, sure, but there's also plenty of positive feedback that doesn't get as much attention. People tend to focus less on kindness for some reason. At the end of the day, we're all human, nobody's perfect, and I don't put much weight on outside judgment. I know who I am, the people close to me know who I am, and I hope I'm making them proud, while helping create a better environment for the next generation. The broader takeaway being circulated is that Cunningham's stance centers on the divide between men's and women's competitive sports, framed by supporters as a principle rather than a personal attack on any community. The argument being made is that the concern isn't about individuals' personal lives, but about preserving competitive categories in sports that are open to public viewing, men competing with men, and women competing with women.